Hello.
How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Doing all right.
Jeff
Going well. I did. Ireland was nice.
Yeah, Steve Laws is heading there. He's on the way now, I think, isn't he?
He said he was going to be gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think he left. He told me when we left class on Saturday that he was going home to pack. So I guess he must have left either Saturday night or yesterday. So he said they were flying into Dublin and renting a car and just driving around the country.
It's a beautiful country, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I hope he took a coat. The high there was 62.
Yep. It's cool.
Have you met your new neighbor yet? Have they moved in, the new person?
No, your name tag's gone off the doors. I thought she was supposed to come last week, but I hadn't seen her.
She's supposed to be there. Yeah, she was.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Now, he says that they've approved it to be coming. So I don't know. I just show up. So,
hey, everybody.
Hey,
Robin.
How are you?
Great. How are you?
Excited to be here.
Me
Hey,
too.
Danny.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well. Glad to be back.
You're good.
Except I come back from 62-degree weather to 95. Oh,
Yeah,
It's going to be 100. It's going to be 101 degrees here tomorrow.
you can keep it.
I left class in Charlotte yesterday about 10 after 5, and it was 101.
Good Lord. And this is just June.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's July today, but it was June yesterday. It was miserable. I moved out of my room in Charlotte. I got there yesterday morning, and I broke out of sweat just walking in that glass room there in the corner. And I went down to 202, the big room where you get some air in there.
Yeah, your office is awful.
Yeah, I'm sitting here with a fan on now. It's about 90 in my office right now.
Goodness.
I got the door open. I got my fan on.
You get that afternoon sun coming. That's horrible.
Yeah. Jeff came over a while ago, and he looked like somebody slapped him. He stuck his head in here. It felt like standing in an oven. Yeah, nothing but the finest.
Hey, Phyllis, I saw you come on.
She's muted herself here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Fearless. Hey.
Hey,
It's good to see you.
thank you. Appreciate it. Good to be back.
Great. Phyllis and I talked today. They in the middle of an imbroglio in Phyllis's district. But they deserve it. You know, they absolutely do. They absolutely deserve it.
I just always say, never say never.
Well,
Never say, oh, no, that person didn't do that.
Well, they had a chance to do the right thing the first time and refused to. Just covered it up. Just a big stinking pile of mess, and just covered it up the first time. And thought that they were smart, that they didn't get caught the first time. They were lucky. But now they got caught this time, and now somebody's going to pay on that one. I'm going to tell you.
Well, I think it's going to go back. Because of that, it's probably going to go back further than people like to even think.
Oh, yes, it will. And there's going to be, I suspect there'll be lawsuits against the district and the school board and the individual people.
Yeah.
Like we were talking earlier, I think this will bring people out of the woodwork.
Well, that's what's happening in Robinson County right now. They have ended the school year with over a $2 million deficit. Don't know what they're doing. The superintendent and the board is as divided as anything I have ever witnessed in my life. In my 40-some years, I have never, ever experienced seen what I am seeing now with what's going on. It is unreal.
Do they know where the money went?
I no, not really. They say, but the state has actually come down and has started. They've been in the last two board meetings that they've had. We've got Olivia Oxendine that lives in Robeson County that's on the state board.
Yeah.
And so but then there have been others there, but it is unreal. That's what I told you. It's the board. There's 11 members on the board, and there's six that are with the superintendent on most days. But it's only because they are against the other 5.
Well,
so it's not that they really want her. It's just that they're not going to do anything that the other side wants. And that's how that appointment to RCC that I was on got caught up, because the 5 that are on the other side, the nomination came from them for me to go back on. So the other 6 were not going to do anything that they wanted. So, but the next board meeting I got back on because they convinced one of them. So they brought it back up again, and I'll get sworn in on Monday night for 4 more years. So.
Maybe. Well, the problem to start with in Robeson County, current company excluded, is it would be hard to find 11 wise people in Robeson County.
Well, and let me say, I try to tell folks that are looking at central office positions and superintendent positions, those positions are so political. It's really about what you know about school business anymore. And so if you aspire to that level, then it may be that make sure you know what you're getting into.
Well, the 5, Dale, that I call them the good guys, 3 of those 5 are actually they're retirees, and they know what they're talking about, and the others don't, but they don't want to know what these 3 know.
No.
I worked for years with these people, and they're very wise people.
Politicians now, if I believe it, that makes it so. I don't have to have any data or real evidence. The only thing that I have to go on is if I believe it, that makes it true. And so, but that's at every level of politics. But one of the things that we're working real hard in 603 is trying to get students to understand the law and policy to try to keep themselves out of harm's way.
We're in the middle of a mess that has started just within the last month or so and is really coming to a head this week. And things from 1999 are being alleged and drugged up. Our deputy superintendent today announced his retirement effective August 1st. Apparently the SBI is doing some investigation because the DA and the sheriff doesn't want to do it because of their relationship with the school system. So they don't want people to be able to say that they brushed anything under the rug or whatever.
Well, the Lincoln County deal, there was a big hullabaloo. That's the next county over from me at Lake Norman going west. Phyllis lives there. They had a big incident or alleged series of incidents back in 2007. And they basically covered it up, and the local people wouldn't allow anybody else to look at it and covered it up. But now it's come back to light, and I would give you the details, but I'd be sick at my stomach. It's that kind of case. But they deserve it in that they covered it up the first time and let children be harmed. I mean, physically harmed.
It's going to come out that the allegations could lead to pedophile and pornographic, it's just unreal. We're not talking money. We're talking harming children.
Yeah, harming kids. And now they've got the evidence now on this go round. I mean, it's dead bang this time. He's going to prison this time.
He's going to the big house.
From the first time when it was covered up, there may be other people that have to go to jail with covering it up the first time. Oh, they've got him this time. Oh, I mean, I've read the reports. Oh, it's graphic. Oh, they've got him this time.
Horrible.
They've got him. indisputable evidence this time. So he's already
age at the time of the incidences, and so and it's same sex. It's male administrator with male students. So a lot of
they've got indisputable evidence this time.
People not necessarily wanting to come forward.
Well, as I've often said in jest, and this is not in jest, some people, the only way you're going to get them is if they get caught with a dead girl or a live boy. He got with live boys this time. He's going to prison. There is no doubt. He'll spend the rest of his life in prison. He was principal at the high school there in Lincoln, and he'll spend the rest of his life in prison. Now, the question is who's going to have to go with him. See, now, they knew enough the last time to suspend him and take him out of his principal job and put him in a non-carrying a clipboard at the central office. But for whatever reason, they let him out in 2017 and put him back in the school after being out for 10 years.
Wow.
Somebody made the ridiculously bad decision to put him back after they knew the first time what he was doing. But this time they've got him on Tumblr and pictures, and they've got Grindr. Right? They got him this time. The FBI is involved in this one, and you know that one of my best friends is the special agent in charge in Charlotte. They've got him this time. He's done. This is the group that got the mayor in Charlotte and all these other people. That they've got him this time. He'll never see the light of day again. But what this is going to lead back to is 2007 is who knew what, where, and when then, and who covered it up. It won't. This will resonate for a while, and so it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better too. By the way, a lot.
So some of those that covered it up could end up in jail too.
Oh yeah, the reporting laws. I mean, that's one of the things that we stress so hard.
And that wasn't me.
is the reporting laws. That you're required to report this stuff, and if it's of a sexual nature, you're required to report it to law enforcement regardless, because you're not qualified to do sexual investigations.
Right.
When somebody makes a claim of that has sexual implications, you are required by law to report it to law enforcement.
Right.
And they just covered it up, and so it's going to get ugly, but they deserve whatever they get. Absolutely deserve whatever.
I agree.
A lot of children have been harmed. So, it's another cautionary tale in our business, and it's another lesson for us to remember, to remind these people and to work hard to try to get these people to understand that your first responsibility is to children, period. Like our case studies that we're working on in 603, that the first case study, all the stuff about Bobby's uncle and all this, that's just to throw the students off. In the end,
right,
the teacher manipulated the grading scale and counted the class assignment for more than half the yearly grade and failed the kid just for spite. And the reason why that's the first one is all of our people, almost to the one, their notion is when I get my job, I'll support teachers 1,000%. I won't forget where I came from. And the lessons we learned from the first case study where Bobby struck out is to protect children. Teachers want to always do the right thing. People in our business don't always act in kids' self-interest, but your job, number one, as a school administrator, is to act in the self-interest of children.
Well, Dale, let me tell you about Emily Smith and the C12 group. She leads that group, and they've already started working on their case study number 3, and they've gotten their slides together, and she includes me in all of her correspondence with her group. And she sent a message today, and she calls them gals. She says, "Gal," she said, when you go into this case study, she said, when you first look at it, she said, it looks pretty cut and dry. She said, but don't take that for granted. She said, you need to dig into it. She said, because once you dig into it, she said, you realize that it's much, much more than what's at the surface of the eye. So my point is they're getting it.
Yeah, and I talked to Link about that today. There's a lot of layers. These are like onions. There's a lot in these case studies, and I'm seeing some of the best thought and discussion and probing into the content and the material that I've ever seen in our group. They're really, it's really making them think and work and dig. You know, second case, the Leandro case, obviously the superintendent's inappropriate. You can't manipulate state funds. That's what the Leandro case said. There's no expectation of equal funding. Now, just read that, they think, well, the state gives equal funding already. Well, but what Leandro was about was manipulating local funds and manipulating state funds. So in the end, they got state and local was equal on the per pupil for instruction. And obviously, Leandro said, no, you get the base level. It's got to go to those kids. You can't manipulate that. But, you know, the held finding from Duke Law School is really good reading. But
Right.
number one. But number two is that you can't manipulate local funds either unless the county commissioners approved it when they gave you the money and it's in the superintendent's budget for the year. You can't just decide in August. Now, the point of that one that our students are supposed to think about and remember and know is that you can't just spend money ever how you think it ought to be spent. That there's rules on every pot of money that you have, and you can't just decide that, oh, I'll do this or, oh, I'll do that. That there's rules and laws about how the money is spent. We all know that that's the biggest reason that folks get fired in our business is that they misspend the money, or they think that they have discretion that they don't, or the money gets gone, or whatever. And so the Leandro case is our entree into understanding federal money, state money, local money, fundraiser money, and all the different codes and how it can be spent and not spent. That's what Leandro is supposed to lead us into. You know, the Bobby case is supposed to lead us into due process, discipline, disciplinary reporting, and all those things that are just theoretical until you put it in a case study. And then we have the one on the basic ed that and all of us, we're all, you know, of a certain age. Some of us are a little younger.
You got a birthday in a few days. I know when it is.
I'm gonna catch Danny again in a couple of days, but Steve caught me. But I'm gonna pass him. I'm gonna catch the Danny and pass Steve next week. But so all of you aren't in the same age bracket, but we're all of age that we remember when the big complaint in schools was from exceptional children parents. That's not the case anymore. Now it's the regular ed parents beating us up because the EC kids are in class with theirs, and they're screaming their child's right to a basic education is being abridged by these doing the inclusion stuff. And so that's, you know, our case study coming up on that one. And that's what they're going to have to deal with. Everybody knows the law on exceptional children now, and that's pretty much old hat anymore. It wasn't in our era, but it is now. But now what's rising out of that is this movement, and it's taking shape and form and names and acronyms, and different parent groups are forming that are screaming and yelling and demanding their basic right for their children, for regular ed kids. And so this is that case study is to get them to understand what EC kids do get, but also the basic ed law that these children are you're responsible to provide them a basic education. So that leads into all of that area. So that one works well for that. But they're all, you know, they're all thought provoking. I mean that's and they're to dig into the big areas that we cover in these topics. And so I've been very pleased with that. It's the case studies are working out real well to get students to think. Well, I see our time is moving along here. I want to get to a couple of things, share. As you know, I have not had a day this summer session that I have not gotten an email about Blackboard. Blackboard has been really difficult this summer. And so a lot of your courses are disappearing from my courses. There's a search function down here at the bottom where it says more courses. If you go back into your courses and you can't find them, you can search under more courses and simply put in the term and then summer 19, and it should show you your summer 19 courses. if you're having problems finding them. You can do a search for them that way. Now, once you've searched for them and you get into one of them, you can simply click on your name up here at the top right, and it will show you your recently visited courses. And so when you come back in, you can go here, or when I'm working in my courses, and I'll go to the one that I was in last, my doctoral group. If you'll come over here where it says course right here, this little arrow over here, it will show you the courses that you're working in right now, and you can kind of switch back and forth between them. So for grading, what I do is I simply go to C8 section, one of my sections, and it needs grading, and then I can just switch between my courses to 14, and it will show me everything that needs to be graded. I just cleaned mine out before I came online with you folks. So if you will use these two functions, you can A, find your courses, and B, find what needs to be graded fairly simply in your courses. I know we've had that problem. It's been a constant with losing courses, can't dial them up, can't find them. Now, on grade center issues, I'm forwarding those to Bob O'Neill. Bob is working with us. We've had problems with grade center. We've had problems with going in when you would go to grades, when you would go to needs grading, it wouldn't give you a submit. It wouldn't let you submit the grade. That's a browser issue, according to him. You need to switch browsers. I've had the best luck this summer for me has been in Chrome. It's not always been that way, but I've had the best luck this summer. Edge is not working for me at all this summer, which replaced Internet Explorer in Windows 10. It has not worked for me at all this summer. And so if you're having problems with something related to grading, switch browsers. If you're having problems getting in, I just showed you a couple of tricks to find your courses. If you're having something else than like in Grade Center, that's probably going to be a Bob question, and I'll forward those to him. But we've got to be able to get to Grade Center every day to kind of keep up with where our students are. And as you know, you can go to full Grade Center at any time, and you can see the point total that your students have. Let me get in one of my courses. Like my C6 course, I can see where everybody is, and I can see who's behind. And so, I'm pretty pleased with this group. I've been in contact with James today. He's put me some work in today. As you can see, he's been in today because his point total was the lowest. Everybody else is pretty much where they need to be. And that's why I've said I'm not Shay's doing fine. She's been out for a week, but she'll be back on today, hopefully. But Barksdale. But I don't expect you to do an audit every week and tell them what they're missing, but just kind of keep an eye on their points. We don't have any 601s. Now, in 601, we send out the weekly reminders. But in 2, 3, 4, and 5, they've got to take some ownership in this themselves. But especially at mid-semester, and that's where we are. We're actually starting the 6th week today. We're on the downhill slide. About every Monday, you need to be looking at your points from here on out. And if there's a glaring somebody who's pretty far behind on their points, you might want to remind them that, hey, we've only got X number of weeks left. And we've only got 4 weeks left counting this week. And so I've got one here. I've been in contact with her today. She's supposed to be back online here shortly. I've only got one in my 2 regular sections. I don't have any in my doctoral section, but I've been in contact with them today, and I will contact them every Monday if they're still behind. So you need to make sure you do, look at your points. I don't expect you to send them an email that lists everything that they're missing, but you just need to send them a reminder email. Hey, this session's coming to a close at the end of this month, and you're only here on your points. What can I do to help you? Because I do not want a bunch at the end that don't get to go on or don't get through. And now is the time to, it's July 1. The gong sounded today. for the
And Dale, I'm using Jamal to help me with those handful of students as well, because he's my CC2. So
whatever it takes. I mean, the coaches can be a little more specific, but instructors, you just need to send a reminder that you're behind, copy it to the coach on those that these folks are behind. And their point total is not where it needs to be. It's beginning to be a concern, especially if you see somebody who hadn't been in a few days. So let's make sure we do that on Mondays, that we look at those point totals every Monday from here on out. We've only got 3 more Mondays after today.
it's pretty much the same ones. They did it last semester.
Yeah, it's always the same ones that are going to wait to the end. And it also will keep you from getting just swamped at the end with work coming in. Like on Sundays now, we get swamped on Sundays with all the work coming in. But, that's okay. I'll only have a couple, one in each class, who probably swamp me toward the end. I won't have and you get to the point where you're passing stuff you shouldn't be passing, or telling them stuff's okay. That's what I worry about. And task stream we seem to be doing fairly well pacing on task stream, so I'm happy with that. Anybody have any questions on Blackboard or following up with students? Everybody's pretty good. Got any glaring problems with students this summer?
Dale, let me ask you one question.
Yes, Rod.
It's got to do with grade evaluations. Are we trying to do it in a 1-day period during the summer?
Yep.
Or we still got the 2-day window?
I'm normally catching them. If it went in yesterday, anytime, I'll try to catch it on the day. We're trying to keep up with that as well. 2 days is okay. We're trying to do 1. I'm trying to stay caught up with that. It's a little difficult on the weekends that I have class Saturday and Sunday, but we're trying to maintain that. You get it in 1 day, we'll have it done by the end of the next day. So I guess that's consider that 2 days. Yeah, we're still trying to stay on that. It's thrashing me though, but that's okay. And
I just wonder, because I don't know if it's you or whoever, but somebody's doing some of them mighty quick.
I am.
Yeah, I figured it.
When I get an hour, every time I get an hour, I do 2.
Yeah.
If I try to knock 2 out every time I get an hour that I'm sitting down, and I
had one the other day about 3 hours and it was already done. So
I go in. I'm trying to keep them caught up, and that does not hurt my feelings to do that.
Okay.
To keep them caught up, because I do not want that last week of July for us to get work that's just pitiful, and us feel an obligation to pass it on because we don't have time to get it turned around. So I'm trying to keep us caught up so that we don't get in that situation. That's what always. This is the perfect storm semester. This only happens about every 3rd or 4th summer, where we have all of these students finishing this summer. All of our add-ons are finishing, and we've got all these add-on sections finishing. We got all the regulars and we've got the perfect storm. We've got the EDCIs. We've got as many finishing this summer as we'll have left. Half of our population is matriculating this summer, and it's a huge, huge group. And we have the potential, if we don't keep up with it, that it will beat us that last week of July. It'll beat us. We've got way too many. This doesn't happen every summer. This just happens to be the summer that we've got about 160 finishing. And so it doesn't take too many of them to snow us under if they all decide to wait till the last week.
Okay.
So I'm trying to keep it moved on, because that encourages them to get it turned in faster. What happens is, when it sits there for a while, they get out of the habit of working on it every day. Mm-hmm. And then we kind of slow them down. So we're not going to do that. But, the folks up the hill, they're concerned as I am. We're going to be able to get all this group through. Are we staying up, or we're mirroring, because Bruce is up the hill now and he knows the deal. I can't pull the wool over his eyes. He knows what's going on.
Well, I just hope that, they don't all wait till the last week or so.
That's what I mean.
And then that's when we're going to have the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. They wait till the end and they snow us in that last.
Or even worse, if we do it and we send one back lower than the 3.
Yeah. The sendbacks this summer, I've had to send a good many back this summer. That's concerning too. But it's not because of the quality of what they did. It's because they send them in and there'll be a task missing. That is what I'm seeing a lot of this summer. Is they're in a hurry and we're in a hurry because of the limited time that we have. I sent one back yesterday that was incomplete. It didn't have task 6 of the SOP. I had to send it back. And that's kind of aggravating. You've read all the way through it. So I try to make sure I roll through them, make sure all the tasks are there before I start reading them for content, and to save myself some time and make sure that all the tasks are there. And we've had a lot this summer that have had to be sent back because they're missing a task. I had one that put a template in this week or like over the weekend. She just put the template in. I had one that put one task in on the app, one of the 605s. She put task 1 was all she had in her submission. And so that's...
Are they doing it because they think we're not looking at it, or are they just...
Yep, that's exactly what's happening.
I know we talked about that a couple of semesters ago, and I know that was going on then.
They're jammed up this summer. Their time is short. They've only got 10 weeks, and they're checking to see if we're watching. That's exactly what's going on. And so they're somehow they believe that they're not reading them things.
Right.
And so I have one today. His task 5 and on the SOP was weak, and I know he just put it in because he thought we would let it go. His task 5 was 1 page. No.
Well, Dale, I've had 2 students sending the SIOP in for me to get from permission to turn it in, and when they send it for my review, the whole SIOP was less than 25 pages. The whole SIOP.
So that's what I mean.
I mean, there was nothing there, and I sent it back with the instructions. Haven't heard any more since then, but that was 2 students.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we're getting a lot of that this summer. They're trying. They're seeing if we're actually reading it.
But Dale, isn't it going to the CC2 and the professor before they evaluate it? Or is it not?
But they're shortcutting. That's what I'm talking about. They're shortcutting.
They're not even going through that.
Right. They're getting behind on their time, and they're just shortcutting it and submit it to task string, thinking we won't know, or that we don't read them or don't watch them. That's exactly what it is. They get in a time crunch. They take a few days off, go on vacation, work in another job or something or another, and then they realize that, I need to turn something in, and I bet they're not watching. I bet they don't read all of these, and that's what's been going on. It becomes epidemic in the summertime. It's not too bad during the regular year when the pacing is more realistic, but for the summer, where you got the 605s have to do 1 task a week. They have 10 tasks in 10 weeks. They've got all the gap and all the SOP, and the 60 and the they got the OMA and the skip for the 603s, which is 8 tasks. But the OMA, you know how much time it takes. It is. So in the summertime, this becomes operating procedure. Unfortunately, in the summertime, is that they shortcut the system. What Rod was talking about, they don't go through their coach. They don't get permission. They just grab something up and submit it and hope nobody will know. No, we read them all, and that's how you get quality work. Now, I'm very pleased with the quality of work that we're getting. The evidence artifact work is much better than I've ever seen it before. They're thinking, they're doing the case studies, they're doing a good job on that. But it just becomes human nature. When deadlines come up and you have done what you need to be done, you try to system. And, you know, it's up to us to make sure that we don't allow that, you know, for the rigor of the program. Our folks are getting jobs. We're doing real well. We did real well in our CAPE accreditation. And thanks a lot to you folks for, you know, the work that you do, and not just showing up, but the work you do. But, it's, you know, as hard as we work to kind of get it going in the right direction, it's easy for it to go the other way if you know, if you let down in the summertime. You know, I used to tell principals all the time when I was in central office supervising them, and I'd come out in that last month of school, I'd tell them, how you end the year is how you start the next year. You're setting the expectations now. If you let things slide this last month, if it just becomes a free-for-all in high schools, that's just how you start off. You need to understand that. If you allow this now, because it's the end of the year, then you have established the new norms for your and don't think that they won't remember that. And you know, I sent 200 home first day of school in August of '97. I sent 200 home because that's what they'd been doing in the spring and in the summer school. They'd been coming in bathing suits. And so I sent 200 home. We're not going to have, this is not how this is going to work. And it didn't take long back on track, but that's the way kids are. That's the way adults are. If we let our guard down in the summer and we don't make our standards, then we have nobody to blame but ourselves in the fall when they start this mess. And I don't want to deal with this all fall and all spring. Coming in is not complete and have to send it back. We can't do that. So we just need to double down and make sure that we spend the time and keep it moving. All right, fall schedule. And I see my time. I'm already over my time. I apologize for that. Let's see. Let me do this. So this is the modified schedule for the fall. It has gone to the dean's office and he has modified it. He modified again. The new president has reserved the right to look at programs and make these kinds of decisions. He actually wrote that in his treatise today. He met with the senior staff this morning. So we'll have to go through at least one more revision for staff. The president's looking at all this stuff. But this is what we have so far. I'm projecting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, possibly 7 new add-ons. We're at about 110 right now with our associate provost, Dr. Boyles, and he said that our limit on that is 15. He said we'll go to 17, but we won't go to 18. We'll have 7 in the fall, but we'll see. And then on the regulars, we have the potential to go to 3. We've got returning students. I'll take the 2 regulars. We've already made another cohort of ECI add-ons. That program has been wildly successful. Thought we'd have 1 cohort in the spring and we'd be done. Spring. We have another one this summer, a full cohort, and we've already made a cohort and a half. We'll split them for the fall. We're already well into double digits for the fall. So that has become quite popular. Dr. Sanders will have 2 604s and 1 605. Dr. Stone will have 1 605 because he's got 2 ES courses. That change was made by the dean. 605 and Rebecca, and you'll be coaching, and then you'll have a bunch in the spring. If you were coaching, we'll probably have 2 sections in the spring. All these 601s will hit 603. So that's what it looks like. Now, this was, as I said, I proposed, and then the dean modified SOIs and senior exits decisions. Also, full-time people in terms of their schedule. That's one of the things that came out of Cape. Cape wants full-time people teaching 3 courses if possible. And so they didn't kick us on the adjunct full-time ratio as long as all of us who are full-time teach 3. We're okay on that. So that change was made in the dean's office. All of us are teaching 3 now rather than the standard 2. And I may have to take 4. That's the story. If we make 2, if one section of 601, 603 makes 2, I'll have to do 4 in the spring. Or in the fall, excuse me. I'll have to do 4. But we're all having to do 3 now. But, we get work. I'm glad to have the work. But that's why some of you aren't teaching any and coaching, and some are doing 3. That's for the agreement with Kate. So that's what it looks like right now. I'm not sending it out. As I said, it's got to go through another revision. It'll have to go up the hill. Associate provost and the new president want to review all of these before they go out. I think you probably we're on the email distribution list from down. He sent out his treatise this morning about his priorities. Saw that he says that he's going to start program review immediately. I think most of what that's going to be is undergraduate, some of their loads and sections and how many people they've got in their departments versus how many students they've got. I don't think we're going to. I think we're fine as long as our full-time people are teaching 3. We're good. But he reserves the right to look at these things and make decisions. So whenever that, I don't know when that'll be. But as soon as it's finalized, I will send it to you. But this is what it looks like so far.
Could you remind me again the date for our fall conference or meeting that
again, the new president just showed up today.
Okay, so we don't have a date yet that I missed.
They know that. Let me get out of this and go to this. That's a good question. Thank you for asking me that one. Let's see. It kicked me out of Web Connect's kicked me out. Let me go back in. So my suspicion is, unless we've been told to reserve some days. So if we look at the calendar here, let me get that out of the way. So the faculty retreat days are Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, August 12th, 13th, and 14th. My plan is for us sometime either Thursday, Friday, or Saturday to do our staff development day, but we've been told to reserve those days. The new president might do something during that time. I don't know what that would be. We got 3 days of faculty retreat, but what I want to do, I'd like to do that Friday, the 16th would be my pick, but that's on hold right now over him coming in and his agenda, 1, and 2, the money. But I would love to do Friday, and do that day would be a good day. Or we could do Thursday or Friday, but that's my plan. Saturday's not but we may have to do Saturday if he's got something for us to do on Thursday and Friday. But all that is supposed to be revealed over the coming days. He met with senior staff this morning at 8:30. The reverberations from that are already being felt. So I think I better not say that. I think somebody didn't have a chair this morning when the music stopped. So we'll see what happens with that. So, always in a change of leadership, there's a time of uncertainty. I think we're fine. I think everything is good. We're meeting all the metrics, doing all the things we're supposed to. I'm just hoping we're going to have some money to do our August retreat. I would rather not try to do a Saturday virtual day. That's the least favorite of things to do. I'd rather have you all together. We need to work on Zoom and YouTube, and we need to work on some technology things that day. And it's hard to do that online, as you know. And so I'd love for everybody to come in and be a part. So we're looking at those 15th, 16th, 17th of August right now, but I'll know more probably in a week. Today everybody was kind of shell shocked here today, running for cover and hiding. So that'll pass in a day or two, and then we'll move on. I saw. I'm the only one that didn't wear long pants today. Everybody's so afraid they even wore long pants today. It's a new time, but I'm sure we'll get through it. All right. I don't really have anything. If you got issues with students, let me know. We're working through some problems in a couple of sections this summer, but I think we Zoomed with Dr. Bull and I Zoomed with a group last week, so I think we've got that taken care of. So if there's any other things that are brewing, let me know.
Dale, with Phyllis's question, we did get something on the 27th and 28th of September, the CILD conference.
Right, but that's been revisioned.
It has. That's not in now. Okay.
The CILD is not a staff development conference anymore. It is a leadership conference where people come and present, not doctoral students. The CNI and EDLS people are having to scramble to try to find venues for their people to present. They've always, in the past, we've used the CILD for doctoral students to present, and for staff development, both of those are off the agenda for this year. It has been completely revisioned into a.
So it won't be the 27th and 28th, probably. Okay.
We won't have unless you applied to be a presenter. We won't have any part in that program. It is a straight leadership conference. It is a fundraising activity. Just a little background on CILD. CILD belongs to the university. It doesn't belong to the School of Ed. It was simply housed here for convenience, and the School of Ed took over and ran it. The people, it's now going back to its original intent to be a university-wide organization. And so they've made it a general leadership conference where more schools than the School of Ed can participate in it. And the reason why is they see it as a potential way to raise money. And so that's why I say it's been revisioned. And so there'll be no doctoral students presenting unless they apply to present as just a presenter. But they won't be presenting class projects, nor will we be doing staff development out of that like we've done in the past. It's just a drive-in, fly-in conference like you have at other universities now. They've returned it to the original vision of a university department and not the School of Ed's summer workshop. Pros and cons, but it's not what it was. We will not be doing anything at that. All right, folks, it's good to see all of you. I will we'll meet again on the 22nd, weeks from today, unless there's some reason that we need to meet in between. We'll meet on the 22nd, and then we'll probably have to meet the 29th again after that. But the 22nd, as you know, is drop dead. That's the first soft turn-in date this summer for people who are completing, whether it be regular or add-on. All their evidences need to be in by 9 o'clock that morning so that we can make sure we work through all them. And then the hard deadline will be the 29th at If they've not completed their task stream portfolio, the registrar will pull them off the graduation list. That's their call to make. That's not a Dale decision. Know by 9 o'clock that morning who is and who isn't. That would be the 29th. That'd be 4 weeks from today. We're done. If they're not done by 9 o'clock, they don't make the cut that morning. So we got 4 weeks from today. So I ask that you look at in your classes, look at your point totals, send out reminders every Monday starting today till the end to remind them where they are in their classes. What happens is when they get jammed up on task stream, they forget their classwork and they just focus on their task stream portfolios. And then we end up with students with half their points for their class that think they're going to be completing this summer. Then what do you do with them? They pass the class. So we need to make, I know they're pushing on task stream, but keep their Blackboard up as well. So send them reminders. I'll see you all in 3 weeks. If you need me, holler, call. Enjoy talking with all of you, but I appreciate what you do. And it shows in the students. They're doing really well. Everybody have a good summer. I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.